Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurlita. I'm from English Education Department of Zainul Hasan University on the 5th semester. And this video is made for completing the task of final test in the subject is Introduced to Linguistic by Miss Ririn. And here I am is to presentate my material, which are words and culture from fifth group. So first we will talk about the definition of word. So many attempts have been made using a wide range of criteria to define what a word is from the beginning of the study of linguistics. Too far, nevertheless, no adequate definition that works for all language and linguistic analysis levels has been discovered. So, six definitions include those that describe it as the smallest segment of sound that can be isolated theoretically by word accent and boundary markers on the phonetic and phonological level. So words are formed to show meaning or any expression for someone to someone else. A word is a fundamental unit of language that is uninterruptible, has an objective or practical meaning, and can be employed alone. Although language users frequently understand words intuitively, linguists cannot agree upon the definition of a word, and countless attempts to identify the concept precise requirements have been fruitful yet continuous. Various criteria have been put forth, and they don't all lead to the same definition because they depend on the theoretical underpinning and descriptive content. So, words are formed to show meaning or any expression from someone to someone else. And then the next topic is definition of language and culture. According to Kirov, language is a communication tool between members of the public or people in the form of a sound symbol produced by a human speech tool. The language is part of the culture because we can see that the language is a form of the behavior of a trained means we mastery over one language is not because through the learning process, and the language using limited in humans are in have by all members of society is concerned. And then culture are formed by people based on their behavior, daily life, or etc. According to Wardow, culture, therefore, is the knowledge of how the person must process to get through the task of daily living. So, culture is people behavior. And then the next topic is the relationship between word and culture. The various languages will reflect the cultural wealth of the wearer society, multicultural. And then the relationship between word and culture is language is the product of the culture. That human culture cannot exist without language because language is a very important factor that enables culture to develop, and language is the principal element of culture. And then the second is language is part of culture. Language is a reflection of a culture, and human culture cannot exist without language because language is one factor in the production of culture. And then the third is language as prerequisite for the establishment of culture. Understanding of language as cultural requirement can be understood in two ways. First, language is a cultural prerequisite, ironically, because we learn culture through language. And the second is based on a more theoretical standpoint, language is a cultural requirement because of the material or material that forms the entire culture, that is logical culture relations, opposition, correlation, and so forth. Number 4, language affects thinking. Language and thinking in human lives are two very different and interconnected things. Both of these things typically and clearly distinguish humans from animals. And then the last is cultural change affect language change. The relationship between language and culture that still needs attention is that of the language changes that have resulted from cultural changes. The language changes resulting from cultural changes stand out more in a lexicon or vocabulary aspect than in any other linguistic, either on its form or on its meaning. So I think that's all for me and for Alma presentation today. And thank you so much for your attention. Last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.